I haven't been this frustrated at a challenge in a long time. As someone who started playing Call of Duty in 2010 with Black Ops 1, I was a child of Kino der Toten. And not up until like 2014 did I go back and actually give World of War a chance just to round out my general knowledge of where zombies began. To put it kindly though, I never really enjoyed myself all that much on the game. I can appreciate World of War for being the OG, and without it the other games wouldn't exist, and I really appreciate it for that, but it also doesn't mean that it holds up super well almost 15 years later. So today I decided to suffer and use the single worst weapon in the history of zombies and try to even get past round 5 with it. The Springfield is a wall weapon exclusive to Verrucht which only costs 200 points, but honestly that's a scam. It's a long rifle that is a 2-shot kill to the chest on a round 1 zombie. There's even this long running joke that the Springfield is so bad that it's a 2-shot headshot on round 1, and well, that's technically wrong. I agree with the sentiment. It's actually a 1-shot headshot until round 3, which earns it the participation award of wall weapons. Seriously, like, you have no idea how bad this thing is until you've ever actually used it. The Call of Duty wiki actually praises it for, and I quote, having better penetration than the other wall weapons on Verrucht. But like, seriously, who actually gives a shit about that? Last time I cared about penetration was when my uncle came over for Christmas. I don't care if it can hit 3 zombies when it's not going to kill them anyway. And something funny is that the sights on it are actually slightly misaligned and was never fixed, so a perfectly lined up headshot actually has a chance to miss a zombie. Absolutely fucking fantastic. By the way, a like is very appreciated on the video. It helps keep the channel alive way more than you'd actually think it does, and comment more of, stuff for me to try and more suffering for me to do. Thanks for the love on the last video, by the way, but as you've probably seen in the gameplay so far, the first few rounds aren't really that bad actually, but I'm pretty much forced out of spawn when it takes 2 headshots or 4 body shots to kill a zombie on round 4. Usually the strategy was to open the first door and gather some points for that round, hopefully getting something like a nuke or a double points to drop out of a zombie. Because I actually need a lot of points since there's 5 doors that I need to open just to turn on the power switch. Getting perks is an entirely different story that I didn't even really figure out until my 3rd game, where I saved up enough points at the end of round 5 to buy Juggernog. And that was only even really possible that first time because I got a lucky insta-kill drop that let me go through pretty much the entire round. And this is where things take a turn though, because rounds 1 through 5 are not the hard part. Beginning on round 6 though, there are super sprinter zombies that began spawning in, and as the waves go higher, there's more and more of them every single round. These things run faster than you do while sprinting in the opposite direction of them, so sometimes you'll get hit in the back while trying to get away. Even worse, because it's World of War, the zombies are sticky, and if they hit you once, they're just as likely to hit you 5 times. Also, a friendly reminder that I'm using the worst gun ever added to zombies, so all of this makes for a complete fucking disaster of a game. Luckily in this one, I actually survived round 6 and was able to open a door and buy double tap, which here only doubles your fire rate. But genuinely, you know what, I'm happy with that. Being able to shoot my nerf darts faster does actually help speed up the rounds and makes me a little bit more confident to fight back and shoot rather than just continually running away. I think we all kind of know that feeling when you really don't have any good guns, so you just keep running away from zombies and you don't have a good time in your head to just turn around and do some shooting. I think we all know that. Or at least it was a good time for me for about 45 seconds until one zombie grabbed me while I was sprinting and all of his friends just jumped on top of me. Well, I guess it's at least a very good lesson learned though, and in the very next game that I played, I got back to round 7 and then got stuck on a window barrier because World of War clipping is just great. After that game, I gave up for the night and I came back the next morning to set the record straight because I know that I'm better than this. When I tried this challenge almost 3 years ago, I was able to reach round 8, so surely after all the challenges I've done since, I couldn't have gotten worse. Well, you see about that, my very first game ended on round 5 due to a late spawning zombie, then in the next game that got past the starting room, after another round 5 insta-kill and getting Juggernog by round 6, I was actually feeling good and as if I had actually figured out the strategy. When round 6 was done, I went to go get double tap and noticed that in Verrucht there's actually 2 bouncing Betty and 2 frag grenade wallbye spots, one on each side of the map, and it just struck me as being really funny that at some point early on in Zombies development, Treyarch thought these 2 things were so vital that they needed to have one on each side. Really goes to show you how far we've actually come with Zombies and how different the general philosophy around it is. Anyway, round 7 for the first time, all challenge is completed, and going coming into round 8, I got lucky and had an insta-kill to start out the round. My hope with this was actually to kill a few of the early spawning super spinners that came in, and surprisingly enough, for once, my plan it didn't fuck up. I actually got a few of them, but because of how low rounds work, a few of them spawned in after my insta-kill was done, and I needed to deal with them in my big horde. Smaller is better despite what my girlfriend says though, and having less zombies to worry about while hoarding and shooting is way less stressful. So big ups round 8 insta-kill. When there's 24 zombies going at various speeds and the risk of being grabbed is always there in World of War, I was always on the lookout for ways to make this a little bit easier and give myself slightly better odds of surviving. Which basically means slightly smaller horde is big better. Anyway, once the round was almost done, I grabbed Speed Cola and picked off the last few walkers, and I reached a new personal best of round 9. Man, that is a sad sentence to say. Oh yeah, there's also this window that has 15 blocks that you need to place into it to fully fill it up, which is just so excessive that that's also funny. But because there's no drops to help us at the start of round 9, we're just going to need to go full gamer mode and try not to die at all costs. There was about 6 super sprinters, with some of them being caught inside of the big horde of slower zombies thankfully, but whenever I turned around, at least a couple of them were broken out. And to be fully honest, more often than not, they would get in a few swings on me pretty much every time that I turned around. But this is also way past the point of me needing to buy ammo during the round, so even though I had done it before, it's never any less tense. Especially since the Springfield wall buy is in a small little room with no easy escape routes. Like, genuinely, I'm not a big fan of Rook as it is, but doing this with the Springfield just makes me hate it so much more. But despite my bitching and moaning, yay, round 10, here we are. We finally hit double digits with the Springfield, which is an accomplishment in its own right, and I'm kind of proud of that, but I really wanted to get a little bit further in this challenge. I started to run around my hordes with the M1911 out because you move a bit quicker with that, and despite there constantly being zombies on my ass like I was a BTS member, we were slowly making progress through the round. If you put a gun to my head and asked me how many shots it was taking to kill a zombie, the Springfield I would say at this point would be a 15 to 18 shot kill to the body and 7 to 9 headshots if you were to hit all of them back to back to back. That's a lot of ammo considering consistently hitting headshots is almost out of the question with you needing to slow down and aim with the super sprinters right behind you. But with buns of steel and a twinkle in my eye, we finished round 10 and 11 has begun. To start it off, it was like every other round, just with more sprinters and slightly faster spawns. But I felt prepared though, and the groove had really settled in. More bullets were being shot with me knowing more of when and where I can shoot the zombies without putting myself in too much risk. And one by one, zombies were starting to go down, and I was about halfway through the round when suddenly it ended at the snap of a finger. The sprinters all at once decided they were faster than me, and it was over. I did try one more game just to see if I could beat round 11, but at this point my frustration levels were just through the roof with that last game taking 45 minutes to get to round 11. During this last game though, I did get Juggernog, and the fundamentals for another decent push for double digits were there, but on round 7 I literally got killed by one zombie who pushed me back into the horde, and I just knew the challenge was chalked. But with that said, now go watch me suffer some more in the Prestige Master with no kills update video.